Hey, it's Dean from the Workshop Whisperer here, coming live to you in your profitable auto repair shop, or YPARs, as we refer to it here behind the scenes. Want to shoot this live training for you to unpack a little bit more about this common phenomenon that we've seen in working with hundreds of auto repair shop owners right across Australia and New Zealand. And that is the phenomenon of the A grade alliance. What do I mean by that? Well, the bulk of the people that we talk to, as a generalization, are running their workshop in some form of partnership, with another person, with another human being. And one of the biggest challenges that comes up often is the fear that one or both of those partners will have around what happens if the relationship goes sour. The partnership just doesn't work out. And ultimately, when we dig a little bit deeper, the biggest barrier, the biggest block, the biggest bottleneck to the business running smoothly is the reality or the concern that the partnership is going to feel like each person is at each other's throats. It's a real fight. It's a real tussle. It's a real struggle, to agree on what to do, or how to make progress, in an aligned kind of a way. But on the flip side, when we talk about what these couples want, the truth is that it's almost always the same thing, and they really want to run their business, live their life with a feeling that they're by each other's side. They've got each other's back, they're by each other's side, and they're moving forward, towards the same goals, and largely, on the same path. So, the biggest fear is that they're at each other's throat. The biggest, ambition they have is that they're working together side by side. And I really don't need to look too much further than an example here inside the Workshop Whisperer, which is of Rachael and myself. We're married. We've just been over a year married, and we've been in partnership inside this the Workshop Whisperer in terms of working together inside the Workshop Whisperer for just over a couple of years now. And we've had to do a considerable amount of work on how we make a marriage work and a business work. So there's a close personal, intimate relationship that we need to take care of. There's also a very closely united professional working relationship that we need to take care of as well. And so from coming to understand some of the forces and factors at play in terms of what has worked well and not so well for us, and what we needed to keep an eye on, has allowed us to support a growing number of couples who run their own auto repair shop. And you may be in a similar situation yourself. So first of all, I want to start by saying, right, there are four main types of business partnerships that we see in auto repair shops. The first is the non-romantic partnership. So there'll be two people. It may be male, 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 female, 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 whatever it is. But it's two people who are running an auto repair shop together, but they are not in a romantic relationship. So maybe you've employed a friend of your husband or your wife to take care of the front of house activities, to be your business development manager, or to come in and give you a hand with the overall operations and running of your workshop. So that's the non-romantic partner, right? Number two, there's the romantic partners. This is one we see very, very often. Okay, it's a husband and wife team, or whatever the nature is of the relationship that you've got, but it is your close, personal, intimate partner that you are in partnership with inside your auto repair shop. Super, super common, but fraught with all kinds of dangers and difficulties if the relationship doesn't have some care and effort put to it. The third type of partnership is a romantic partner, but where one of the partners has nothing to do with the business, absolutely no involvement in the auto repair shop. They're either actively working away in their own career, in other employment, but they have no interest or nothing to do with with the operations, with the running or the decision making that takes place inside your auto repair shop. And the third is where you're in partnership with a relative. Could be a brother, a sister, a father, a mother, whatever. Right? There's a family connection there. So the four types of partnerships that we see are the non-romantic partnership, the romantic partnership, the romantic partnership where one partner has no involvement with the business, and finally, when you're in partnership with a relative. That's the four types. And the A-Grade Alliance covers every single one of those four types of partnerships. And irrespective of which partnership you are currently in when it comes to your auto repair shop, the aims, the dreams, the aspirations that you have for your business, the outcomes that you are working towards are exactly the same. It doesn't matter which type of partnership you're in. The aspirations you have, the aims that you have are exactly the same. And they are to make more money, enjoy more meaning, and create more memories for yourself, your family, into your future. Essentially, it's about having the money to do more of the things you love with the people you love the most. That's going to include your partner in whatever form that takes. It's going to include your children, if you've got them, your pets, if you have them as well. Whatever it is, the three aims remain the same, irrespective of the partnership you're in. It is to make more money, it's to enjoy more meaning from the work you do, and create more memories with the people you love. That's what we need to do when it comes to producing, creating, enhancing an A-grade alliance inside any business partnership. If we flip that around though, why do these business partnerships fail? What are the factors that influence, the success or failure of a business partnership? Well, I can narrow that down to three core reasons. Number one is there's a lack of clarity within the partnership. And when I talk about clarity, I mean it's unclear what each partner's role is inside the business, or it's unclear as to what responsibilities either one of the partners have, right? So maybe it's not really clear on what a job description is, what the position description is, what the key results areas are, or what the key performance indicators need to be. It's a bit wishy-washy, right? And one person kind of does a bit of that, a bit of this, but there is a lack of clarity over who is responsible for doing what and by when, or what the successful what successful performance looks like for each one of those roles. So number one, it's a lack of clarity. Number two, these business partnerships fail because of a lack of communication, right? And whenever we talk with any auto repair shop owner, who will often say, we just got a lack of communication here. The follow-up question is always, well, okay, who's not communicating what to whom, right? So as human beings, as people, as partners, we communicate all the time, right? It's kind of what your mum and dad used to say. It's not what you say, it's how you said it. Or, saying nothing at all says everything you need to say. So we are always communicating. And in fact, we cannot not communicate. So it's not a lack of communication. It's just that communication seems to happen all the time, but in very unstructured way. Or as a mentor of Rachel's of mine says, a business partnership turns into meeting soup. Just for example, I use this. You're brushing your teeth in the morning. At the same time, you're having a discussion around what a team member's doing, how your finances are going, whether your accountant's performing for you, the challenges with recruiting, or you don't want to lose this person, but they're bad for the team, right? You're having all this conversation, all this communication, in really unstructured moments at really inopportune times. So there is no structure around when you and your partner communicate around business issues, right? But there's also no consistency in when you're having those conversations, and also no clarity around what you should be communicating about. What are the key, as I said, what are the key, the KPIs, key performance activities, or KPIs, key performance indicators inside your business. So you're talking a lot, but you're doing it at really odd hours, in odd places, and at odd times. There's no consistency to the communication you've got. And the third reason why these business partnerships usually fail is because there's a lack of control, right? One or both of the partners feel like there is an imbalance of control when it comes to decision making and agreeing on, not so much, really agreeing on what's best for the business. So there's this tussle that occurs between what one person thinks is right while someone thinks that's wrong. There's a struggle between what someone thinks is a good idea and what someone says, the other partner says is a bad idea. And there's this constant fight between what someone believes to be true and what someone else believes to be false about, the direction the business is going in, or the current situation that you find yourself in. So the three reasons why these business partnerships fail, why these relationships fail inside the business, is because there's a lack of clarity around roles and responsibilities. There's a lack of consistency around the communication, what needs to be discussed. And there's a sense of a lack of control when it comes to, the direction and decision making in and around the business. Either, someone's got too much or someone else feels they've got too little control. So we need to be able to overcome those in order to create this A-grade alliance. Now, from my perspective, what are the best tips that I can think of? Well, we've identified, there are 6 clear steps that need to be taken into consideration. Really, I guess 6 clear steps you need to work on, work through, and work out between you and your partner in order to craft, create, and curate an A-grade alliance, which means you're no longer at each other's throats, which your team senses and will often use to their advantage and your disadvantage, and instead create this really strong alliance where not only you but your team can see that you and your partner are standing side by side, and there's no workaround there. Your team is more likely to fall in line and follow you because there's a level of certainty that they sense from the partnership, a degree of stability that they can feel from your partnership that simply says to them, without saying it in words, these guys know what they're doing, and we're getting on board with their vision. So, while I said there's 6 tips which you'll get in the free resource I'm going to mention to you in a second, but I'm going to give you my best tip, and then I'm going to give you my second best tip. So I'm going to give you a little bonus tip. The first tip I can give, and this is the biggest lesson that Rachel and I've got, which is you can only ever have one CEO in any business, right? The most successful organizations across the world only ever have one CEO. And if that's what the best do, then do what the best do, okay? So if you're in partnership, you need to get to a point where one person, you identify and agree on one of your partnership, so one of the 2 people is the chief executive officer, and they have final decision-making authority on what to do to move forward. That is really important. In our business, Rachael is the CEO of the Workshop Whisperer. My job is to try and poke as many holes as I can in the ideas that Rach has around what to do to not only grow the Workshop Whisperer, but improve the learning programs and the delivery capability that we have inside of the Workshop Whisperer from our team to improve the way our clients get results or reduce the amount of time it takes them to get the results we want them to get. My job is to push holes in those ideas. And if I can't sink that idea, then I fall in line with Rach. I go side by side, and I'm 100% committed to that's what we're doing inside the Workshop Whisperer. That's how it works for us. So my first tip is you've got to decide who your CEO is going to be in your partnership. The second tip is this, right? often we see that one of the partners will come in from from a previous career to to give the workshop a bit of a hand, or lend some support and some skill to the partner that was already working inside the auto repair shop, right? So often, and again, not always, so don't misunderstand or misrepresent what I'm saying, but as a generalization, what we often see is, it's the male that's doing the technical work, while also trying to do all the admin stuff, all the bookkeeping stuff, all the invoicing stuff, all the customer facing stuff, and it's often his partner, his wife, that will come in and take care of that stuff. All right, as I said, that's a broad generalization. It is not meant to demean or diminish either gender. Just simply saying our experience over doing this, from doing this for 8 years, is that's often what tends to happen, right? And in the situations where one of the partners is jumping in or out, that really starts to create a level of instability and uncertainty in terms of the chain of command inside the business, but also the quality of communication inside the business. And so what we've learned from this is that if one of the partners in the business partnership either jumps in or jumps out of the business, from time to time, or they don't want to be there, i.e. it doesn't light them up, it's not their skill set, they don't have the experience or the knowledge in that area, then there is a really simple decision that needs to be made. It's not an easy one, but it is a simple one, which is, one of those partners needs to decide to buy in to the business or butt out of the business, right? They can't be one of the silent partners who doesn't want anything to do with it, but actually wants to have a say in every single decision that occurs at the business. And we hear this often when we talk to people that say, oh, you know what, yeah, this is really good, really important, but I need to go and talk to my partner about this. Are they involved in the business? No. Okay. All right. Well, right. Well, go and have a conversation. Come back and talk to us when you think you're ready to make a decision around, moving forward and really, improving the profitability of your workshop. So what's my top 2 tips? Number 1, you can only have one CEO, one person with the final decision-making authority over what you're going to do to move forward with your workshop and grow your profitability. And number 2, if you've got one of the partners that's not fully committed, then a decision needs to be made on whether they are going to buy in to the vision and direction of the business or butt out of all of the decisions that need to be made in order to improve your profits, reduce your overheads, and essentially create more time for yourself. So if you want a copy of our resource on the A-Grade Alliance, which will give you a deeper insight into the 2 tips I've just shared with you then, but the other 4 that we've identified and teach to our clients inside the engine room, then all you need to do is leave the comment Alliance in the comment section below, and we will get that free resource on the A-Grade Alliance out to you ASAP. What are we now? Thursday afternoon, so I trust you have a good rest of the week. I know there's lots going on in the lead up to Christmas, but working on the quality of the relationship and the quality of the partnership that you have with your business partner, be it your romantic, non-romantic, romantic out of the business, or relative, is important work to do, and will go a long way to securing and improving the future success that not only you but your partner and your families enjoy from your workshop. All right, guys, take care, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.